Toka shelai, toka shelai, o makia yo, toka shelai. Hamadake pi chate washte na pe choose api. Wakio hano api naji demi washichu chaje ki Tristin Bullshoe, aka Mr. Bullshoe. Uh, Wachichawakba Edwati Nitsitipi na Amskapi Pikani Oyate ki Amatahan Mitawi chu Tate Klas Nawi Chukshipi Ion Hitkawi na Hejutanakichi Shibi Wana Pikani Iapi Okinexequex Nistuni Danaku Makoi Poksen Nimtoto Amskapi Pikani. So I just said my name and my English name and my Indian name.
What do you teach?
I teach 7th grade science here at Poplar Middle School.
How long have you been at the school?
I've been at this school for 3 years.
Have you always wanted to be a science teacher?
I actually, when I was your guys' age, or even in high school and into college, I didn't know I was going to be a teacher. It wasn't until after I had graduated college that I even had the idea of becoming a teacher. And after I had graduated from college, I was at home and I had a degree and I didn't have a job, and I didn't want to. And it's not that I didn't want to be a teacher, but everybody in my family is teachers, and so I kind of just never thought I would be, because I didn't see myself joining the family profession. But I tried it out for a year, and I ended up falling in love with it, and I love teaching, and yeah, this is my calling, and this is what I'm going to be doing.
Where did you grow up?
So I grew up west of here, about 7 hours, on the Blackfeet Indian Reservation, outside of a small community called Heart Butte.
Where did you go to school at?
So I kind of went to school all over my reservation. When I was younger, kind of like K through 5, I went to school on the kind of the bigger town on our reservation called Browning. It's a little bit bigger than Poplar. It's a Class A school. I have a lot of family that are teachers and work there at the school. And of course, I have a lot of relatives that go to school there as well. But that's where I started out. And then eventually, when I got into junior high, I transferred and I went to school off the reservation in a small community called Valier. And that's where I ended up going to junior high and high school. I say both of them. Both of them had their positives. Browning, of course, like I said, I went to school and I had a lot of my classmates that were my relatives. A lot of the staff there I was related to, so that's always, a unique experience and awesome to always kind of be around people you're familiar and comfortable with. And then when I went to school off the reservation, that was awesome too. It was a really small school. It's about the size of maybe like Brockton, like a Class C school, kind of really small. So I graduated with I think there was 11 of us in my whole class, and so that was kind of the opposite of experience from Browning in terms of the size of the school, because Browning's quite large, and then transferring to a really small school. I actually really liked the small class sizes, and in our whole high school, including like all the freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, there was only like 40 to 50 of us in the whole high school. So it was definitely unique, and I actually kind of enjoyed it. We played like 6-man football, or football teams where we could only play 6-man, and so things like that. But I really enjoyed it.
How did you end up teaching at Poplar?
I ended up here in Poplar this because this is where my wife is from. My wife's a Poplar Indian through and through, and so um, we decided to move back here to where she's from, and that's how I ended up here in Poplar. So I chose teaching because um, one, uh, I really like science, and two, um, I know how important it is that to have a teacher that I guess students can connect with, and a really good teacher can make a really big difference, like a positive difference with students. And so, kind of knowing that, um, that's kind of why I wanted to be a teacher. Like I said, I have a lot of teachers in my family. My mom, my aunts, my uncles are all teachers, and so um, you know, I definitely hold teachers in a high regard, just because a lot of my role models that I grew up with were teachers, and so I've always kind of viewed it as a profession that you know is good and can make a positive difference. What keeps me coming back? Definitely the students. It's really awesome to get a whole new batch of kids every year. It's like you come to, especially for me, because I'm not from this community. So a lot of times I don't know a lot of the kids that are coming up. So getting a whole new wave of kids that you're totally learning, and then you're building those relationships with. I actually really enjoy that. I always tell my kids the first week of school, give me some time to remember everybody's name, because I'm memorizing, 60 new names.
How long did it take to know each student's name?
Probably like, I would say 2 weeks, 2 full weeks of school, and then I knew everybody's name. When the first time I was a teacher, like my first year teaching, um, like it probably took me like 2 months. It was, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Was it hard at first?
Teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't mention this, but the first year I did teach, I wasn't a middle school teacher. I was actually an elementary science teacher, and so I had kids that were kindergartners through fifth graders, and let's just say a lot of the energy that the young ones brought was definitely a challenge at first. Um, having a room full of 20 kindergartners. I remember my first week of work when I became a teacher. I had kindergartners that were jumping on the tables. I had kids crying and screaming, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, is am I gonna have to rethink this?" But it got better. And looking back on it, I really those are some of like my best memories as a teacher, because the even though they were a challenge at times with their energy, they those little kids, those littles, they're so awesome. I used to love like seeing them out in the community or at ball games or whatever, because they'd be so cute. They'd be like, "Mr. Bullshoe, Mr. Bullshoe, Mr. Bullshoe." Even if it was like a grocery store or wherever, across a gym, they would just be waving and jumping up and down, and their enthusiasm and like that. I really enjoyed it. But I only spent 1 year as an elementary teacher.
Why did you want to do middle school?
I wanted to do well. So continuing on with the story, um, I did elementary, and then in the next year, I kind of like totally flip flopped and went to the other end of the spectrum, and I did high school. And then I taught high school, and then with high school there was its own challenges with the students, um, and then it wasn't until my third year of teaching that I taught middle schoolers, and I feel like middle schoolers are right at the perfect level for me to teach. I mesh really well with middle school students. Um, I love their enthusiasm. They almost still have a youthful enthusiasm about them, that really makes teaching middle school students really awesome and enjoyable.
What do you love most about working with the students?
Um, definitely just getting to know everybody and you know I know my class is just 1 hour of the day, but just getting to know students, maybe more than outside of the curriculum, and getting to know, um, how the whole grade as a whole, how they mesh, and all the personalities, and you find your jokesters, you find your clowns, you find your you find wonderful students all throughout the grade, and so just getting to know that, and appreciating the gift that every student brings. Every student has something positive that they bring into not only my classroom but Poplar Middle School, and just recognizing that. One of my favorite, um, probably like the Thanksgiving meal, just because like they have like a whole feast. But they they make really good mac and cheese. So like if it's the homemade mac and cheese, like with I think we're having that today, chicken and mac and cheese.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
Are you more of a morning person or a night owl?
Definitely a night owl.
What's one of your favorite movies or books?
One of my favorite movies or books. So, I really like a few series of movies. I really enjoy Lord of the Rings, including like The Hobbit, like the prequel to it. And then I also really like The Godfather, and all the movies of that. And then I was raised by my grandparents, and so I spent a lot of time watching like older westerns and gangster movies with my grandpa, and so those are like always my, I guess you could call them like my comfort shows. I always throw those on if there's nothing to watch, and um, kind of like those 80s and 90s, crime, gangster, western shows I really like. Oh, one that came to mind is Shawshank Redemption. Never watched it. Um, recommend recommend you watching it. It's older movie, but I really enjoyed it. It's one that my grandpa would always watch, and so looking back on those memories, I really enjoy it to this day. One thing that students might not know about me is where I'm from, and the tribe I come from, and like that. A lot of my students think I'm Sioux or Dakota, but I guess students are often surprised when I tell them my tribe, where I'm from, where I grew up, and then I know a lot of the students don't know that I grew up around a whole um, family full of teachers. One thing I'm really proud of is that I have four grandmas, and they were all some of the first native administrators in the state of Montana. They all went on, well, they all started as school teachers, but then they eventually went on and got their master's degrees, and they all became principals and administrators back in Browning, and so that's something I'm really proud of, and I'm sure I haven't shared it a whole lot with my students, so that might be something that would surprise them. This has been Meet the Crew by the Buffalo Unity Project. Out. Catch you too.